that exists, and they know exactly what can be developed here, and it's an actual taxable entity, which we have not done in this county, and which we chose not to do during our CPP.
Yeah, so maybe the appraisals are what you'd be looking at, and in that case, you know, you probably would want to just look at the farms that would qualify for the federal program. So you're not guaranteed a match, but they tend to have more money than applicants. I mean, it's sort of a hassle actually to apply for the grants and do all that, but it's worth it if you get a big chunk of change. So.
What percentage of them get the state funding?
I would say, well, we probably purchased, I should have figured all this up. I'm going to guess we purchased 15 easements, and 7 have used the federal funds, and two we didn't use. Well, we did get some from the RC&D. We got $25,000 for one of those easements, but we put in what, 75 or 125, something like that. First 2 we hadn't really gotten in the works here. We kept missing the application deadlines and didn't have, like, we'd see the application and so we wouldn't have anybody that wanted to be in the program. So it takes a little bit to get a pool of applicants together to where you've got some waiting for when the applications come up. So I'd say the other, what did I say, 9 and 7, so 7 were all federal, and probably the other, probably all the rest we use state funds for, at least partially. So, yeah, we just don't like to do them if you can't get grant help. We just can't afford it.
It's too expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much what it amounts to. I mean, we had a couple now that, you know, people are sort of in that income bracket where they're making a little bit more, and we got less VDAX money this year, so we weren't able to offer them up to $40,000. We made them low ball offers, and they took it anyway. So we've had some. I mean, we've got one going to close in the next month or 2 that's $10,000. You know, we just said, well, that's all we can pay you if we don't have grant money to do it with, and they took it anyway. So sometimes you'd be surprised sometimes what people will take, you know.
If they really want to get it into the easement.
Yeah, and get some cash out of it. I mean, that's not much when you consider, you know, you subdivide off a 3-acre lot, you know, maybe you can get $100,000 for it. I don't know, very much depend on the market. But, you know, they generally just don't want to have to do that.
Do you see this funding cut, you know, with cuts in the federal budget and cuts in the state level, do you see this funding cut any on those 2 levels?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, in fact, I was at a meeting yesterday, the Land Trust Conference, and right now it's flush. I mean, if you're going to do it, now is the time to do it. The VDAX funds are going to get probably, there's I think 16 counties now that have PDR programs that are eligible to get the funding, and Kevin Schmidt, who runs it, was saying that we're looking at roughly $120,000 per county if everybody applies, but after next year, there's no saying. And same with the federal and other state programming. Right now, it's good. I mean, there's I forget what is DCR got 21.
Well, VDAX is 1.2. I'm not sure what DCR has.
I think they got 2.5 or something.
More than they've had in years.
Yeah, more than they've had in years. But everybody at that meeting yesterday was pretty much saying, you know, make hay while the sun shines, because it probably will be drying up. And it's cyclical. I mean, like I say, that first year when Governor King put his initiative out to get the 400,000 acres in, and we got $400,000. I mean, they had, what, $4.5 million to split between, and then there were less PDR programs, and we got the small patch, and some Virginia Beach and some of these other communities got a couple, $1 million. And you know, but then last year we got 10,000 or 12,000 or something. So, you know, it's going to fluctuate. So I'm not going to kid you, but you know, if you're set up and you're ready to go when it's good, then you know there's opportunities for you to not spend a lot of local money and get some good properties under protection for ag.
With such a large county, there's so much acreage. This program is never. I'll say never, which I usually don't do if you know that. I'll say never. It's never going to be a quantitative program. We try to get large amounts of property under easement through our program. Other programs may be able to do that. Other entities like BOS and private land trusts may be able to help us do something like that. But what we're going to have to do is focus on the most valuable properties. Pick those properties that have historical value and local significance for Shenandoah County and target them. So that's something to consider when we're talking about this. We're not trying to go get half the county in an easement. We're trying to pick those very valuable properties and use this as a tool, so.
Now, is your easement committee working in that direction, or
Yes.
to do that?
Yes, we are. We're trying to get donated easements right now. We haven't
Right.
accepted any yet. And our perfect scenario would be to work with one of the local land trusts and be a co-holder on the easement, so we can tag along and learn as we go with a professional organization who's been through a lot of these things. And learn through the first one before we try to take on our own. We're in discussions with a couple of those now. It's just a matter of finding the right fit.
Do you have any applications
We have not received any applications.
or inquiries?
Received inquiries, no
Right, but no-
applications.
I think one of the big things here, Chairman, is, of course, Brandon and I went down to this, conservation conference that Secretary of Agriculture and Commissioner of Agriculture put on. And, throughout the presentations of the morning and afternoon, one of the, tools that these counties would use are rollback taxes, and that's where we are today.
Mhm.
And, anyway, they still want to conserve more, land here in the state. That's a commitment from, Governor Obama. And, all this plays together with, meeting that we were at last week on Chesapeake Bay TMDL, because the more open space you have, the less problems we have with issues with the bay. So, you know, it's perfect time to really get the ball rolling. And, so I'm very, very supportive of hoping that we can at least start in a very small way.
Has McDonald, how much money did McDonald put in for this upcoming budget?
They changed the biennial to add another $1.1
$500,000 at the next fiscal year 12.
$500,000. And what was it? 100,000? So,
They told us that means it was 1.1.
Yeah, I was thinking 1.1 or even as much as 1.2 is what they were saying, but supposedly the money is there, but the county had to have money in place before anything else would happen.
Mhm.
And so it's sort of the ball is in our court.
I think they're going back and sweeping money in that counties have gotten in the past and haven't spent. They did that once before. We did that last year and pulled $1.25 million away from counties who've gotten it back when it was rich and never spent it.
Oh.
And then went back and recouped it, but the appropriations haven't been this year.
That's a good point about getting it on the books, like, that's one mistake we made one year. We had spent money and didn't have enough to make our match. And they'll send around, I guess the application is due in October this year, and they will ask for a statement from your fiscal officer stating that the easement authority has X amount in your budget, and then that's amount, up to what they can give you, but that amount is what they'll match you with. So if you don't have anything in there, you won't get anything.
And I think 3 or 4 years ago, we had discussed putting some money, set aside money in a $50,000, I think I proposed when this ordinance was enacted, and we didn't have the money in the budget to do it. We enacted an ordinance with no money, and that year the state did match 50-50. And I was hoping to put 50 and get 50, but we just didn't have the money to do that. That's several years ago. Maybe that was the first year the state offered, I'm not sure, but.
One of the things about the rollback tax is that wasn't money budgeted. It was just sort of in excess. It wasn't a revenue stream or whatnot. And so we see that it's been a substantial amount in the past 6-7 years. And to me, it's just an opportunity to get this thing up and going.
Well, I don't want to paint gloom and doom about the federal funding either. I mean, the Farm Bill has been very successful. We've gotten farm and ranch land every year for the past 4 years, and that's been through a cycle of down.
They have it every year.
And
It's
they're
not like
committed.
they have 0 one year.
And the
And
federal program's pretty.
anytime
steady.
I've ever applied for it, I've gotten it. I mean, it's not that hard.
Yeah,
Because the
yeah.
hardest part is having something to match the federal money with. And if you have that, then you're almost a shoe-in.
And you can use-
Really, seriously, they're looking for, they have an open application period now because they didn't get enough people to apply. They got
Give
money
them
now.
away.
The state and federal take away from us so much we can't put anything back in.
Well, and if the state doesn't spend the money, they have to give it back to the feds, and then the next year, you know, they get less, so they really want to give it back.